Hello everyone, this is Yulia from Galileosky. In this video, I would like to tell you in detail about tracking devices with a Wi-Fi module. The Wi-Fi solution is designed for places where the GSM signal is not available for some reason. These can be mines, construction sites in remote areas, logging sites or oil derricks, and more. Under normal circumstances, customers either have to use the expensive Iridium channel or collect data from devices manually. Wi-Fi solution is lower in cost and easier to use. At the time of recording this video, the current device model with the Wi-Fi module is Galileosky 7X Wi-Fi Hub. Unlike previous models, 7X Wi-Fi Hub can work as a client and as a data collector. In client mode, the tracker can upload data over Wi-Fi network directly to a server or to another 7X Wi-Fi device operating in archive collection mode. In this case, the tracker can also work using GSM network and upload data via GPRS channel. If both GSM and Wi-Fi networks are available, the tracker will upload data using Wi-Fi, as it is usually the faster, cheaper, and high priority channel. Archive collection mode, also known as hub mode, allows devices to collect archive data from other 7X Wi-Fi trackers in client mode. Usually, there are some units in the fleet that sometimes leave the area without GSM signal coverage. For example, these can be fuel trucks or buses that bring people in and out. Hub trackers are usually installed there. After collecting archive data from client devices, the hub goes to the area with GSM coverage or to the base with a local Wi-Fi access point. Anyway, the hub starts uploading its own data first, and then the data of each client in turn. Please note that during the upload of client data, the hub looks like the corresponding client device on the monitoring server. In other words, you don't need to do any modifications on your software side to use the Wi-Fi solution. At the time of recording this video, the stable firmware lets only one client at a time to connect to the hub and upload the archive. In practice, this limitation is not a problem because the Wi-Fi channel is fast enough and uploading data from one client doesn't take much time. With test firmware 40, devices can compress the transmitted data. And starting with the test firmware 43, hub supports connecting up to 3 clients at the same time. Most likely, this solution will be available in stable firmwares. Stay tuned for updates. Let's see how to properly configure Galileosky 7X Wi-Fi hub devices to work in different modes and with different variants of data transmission chain. The simplest option is when the device works in client mode and can upload data directly to the server using GSM or Wi-Fi network. In this case, device settings are almost the same as for trackers without Wi-Fi support. You set up the primary and secondary server in the same way, configure the first and main data packets, and make any necessary additional settings. If the tracker can sometimes be in a GSM coverage area, it should have the SIM card installed and APN settings applied. You also need to specify the Wi-Fi access point parameters on the Data Transmission tab, set network SSID, authentication type, and password from your access point, and choose the client mode. There are additional parameters, RSSI and period of sending to the hub. RSSI is the level of Wi-Fi signal, below which the tracker will not try to connect to the network. The default value is set to -100, but in practice, data transmission is correct if the signal level is higher than -85 decibels. Therefore, it makes sense to set the RSSI parameter to -90. Period of sending to the hub does not apply when connecting to a fixed access point. I will talk about it a little later. Do not forget to apply the settings. Note that all Galileosky devices only work with 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi networks on channels 1 to 12. Trackers will not be able to connect to an access point with other settings. Be sure to check your access point settings. This completes the configuration of the tracker. It will connect to a set access point automatically and upload data to the server using Wi-Fi network. If Wi-Fi is unavailable, it will try to upload data using GSM network. Now there is another point to discuss. In the 7X tracker specification, it is stated that the tracker's memory can store up to 170,000 points. In practice, with typical settings, the tracker's memory is enough to store the archive for 8 to 10 days of work without losing data. Therefore, if your trackers can upload data at least once a week, we recommend using the device's internal memory to store the archive. Internal memory is much more reliable than SD cards, and in most cases there are no problems with it. At this point, the tracker settings are complete. But how do you know that the settings are correct and the tracker connects to Wi-Fi and uploads data? As usual, the easiest option is to check your diagnostic messages. Let me show you what to look for in the logs. Go to the Troubleshooting tab and check the Wi-Fi option. If the settings are correct, you will see the following messages. First, there are messages about an attempt to connect to the access point. If the attempt is successful, the tracker receives the network settings from the access point. After that, the tracker tries to connect to the server. If the connection is successful, you will see the usual log of sending data to the software, like sending a packet to the set address and receiving a checksum from the server. In between sending data packets, we can see the Wi-Fi signal level. In our case, the level fluctuates around -35 to -40 decibels, which is a very good signal level. But how do we know what the problem is if the logs show that the tracker can't connect to the access point? Go to the Commands tab and send the command debug level --3 to enable advanced troubleshooting mode, so you will see much more useful information. Go back to the Troubleshooting tab. As you can see, there are much more messages. In this case, I put the wrong network name in the settings. In Diagnostics, we can now see all the access points in the area, their names, MAC addresses, and signal levels. The tracker shows in the log that it is looking for an access point with this name, but it is not in the list of available access points. But there is a very similar one. Here is our mistake. Go back to the Settings tab, change the access point name to the correct one, and apply the settings. Now, let's go back to the Troubleshooting tab. As you can see, now the tracker is connected to the access point and the data is going to the server. If you have difficulties connecting the tracker to the Wi-Fi network, I recommend that you collect the log of tracker's diagnostics, save it, and send it to support@galileosky.com along with the tracker configuration file. Our specialists will surely help you solve the problem. Well, today we figured out why we need trackers with Wi-Fi and configured the tracker in the simplest client mode. In the next video, we'll continue to set our trackers. This has been Yulia from Galileosky. See you later!